Good evening, everyone. I'm truly excited and honored to be here as part of this terrific panel this evening, and particularly to be speaking about this topic, which is really important to me and to many of my colleagues at RBC. My name is Trevor Gardner. I'm co-head of investment banking at RBC Capital Markets. As I start, I think it's important to acknowledge what expertise I bring and what expertise I don't bring. During my time at the bank, I've had the privilege of working with some of Canada's largest companies, with governments, with executives, with boards, on all kinds of projects across all kinds of financial markets. I've also had the experience in living in different parts of Canada, growing up on a farm in Saskatchewan, building a career in Calgary and Toronto. That being said, I don't have the lived experience that many on the panel do, and candidly, in the last couple hours, I've learned a lot and look forward to learning a lot more tonight. I do want to focus tonight on providing what's hopefully a unique and impactful perspective on the topic, given RBC's presence in all financial markets of Canada. So in preparing for today, a question I got was, what role does a bank play in economic reconciliation? I think that's an important question, so I'll give it a shot. I'm proud to start by highlighting that RBC's central purpose is helping clients thrive and communities prosper. As part of this purpose, for over 25 years, RBC's been committed to our own reconciliation journey. Similar to Colin at Enbridge, we haven't always got it right, but it's important to acknowledge that it's something we've been very focused on for a long period of time. When the findings of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission were made public in 2015, we undertook ways to honor the calls to action, specifically Call to Action 92. But I'm here today not to talk about what we have done, but what we are doing and hopefully what we're able to do in partnership with Indigenous communities and many of our clients in different sectors. We truly have both the ability and the obligation to act in meaningful and important ways on this topic. Similar to what Colin said, while they may put it in different words, I can tell you this perspective sits not only at RBC, but at other banks and other large companies in Canada. It's become deeply embedded in the thought process in terms of corporate strategy, procurement, and business action. In Canada, reconciliation, including economic reconciliation, is clearly one of the most important social issues of our time. So in speaking to my colleagues and our clients, economic reconciliation comes to life in three ways. First, acknowledging and understanding the past. Secondly, truly engaging with Indigenous communities to understand their objectives today. Third, and most importantly, putting our intellect and our capital into creating true economic partnerships for the benefit of communities today, but also for many generations to come. So let's talk about what that means in practice. In our business, we serve millions of customers in Canada, including many Indigenous peoples and communities, and we're very proud of that role. However, the core part of my message today, and the part of the bank that I work in, is not that part. It's dealing with large corporations, with governments, with investors, and increasingly, I'm pleased to say, with Indigenous communities. As you've already heard, there was a terrific transaction that Justin and Colin spoke about. RBC was privileged to act as an advisor on that transaction, working with Justin and his team. In addition to the scale and complexity of the financing, what's notable for us is the true economic partnership that was created between a number of Indigenous communities and Enbridge. By purchasing an ownership stake in these pipelines, the communities served are not only advancing their economic prosperity, they're gaining insights into the business, contributing business value, and importantly, a real effort was made to include each one of those diverse communities in the process and will be part of the ownership going forward. From working on it, we know that this transaction was extremely important to the communities involved and also to Enbridge. I can tell you this project was noticed by many in the market. The day it was announced, we were immediately inundated at RBC with questions from investors, from Indigenous communities, and corporate clients. all interested in how it came together, how it could be applicable to them, and importantly, really trying to understand the opportunities that it might provide in the future. While each transaction we've seen, and Monica referenced there's been many, comes from unique circumstances, there are important common themes. Number one, the capabilities of Indigenous communities are quickly increasing and becoming very impressive to execute these transactions and work alongside corporate partners. Number two, access to capital is strong and growing. Investors have seen the attributes of these transactions, they understand the framework, and they're excited to participate. Number three, successful examples are really powerful. In finance, we're very good at creating new things, but we're even better at replicating and improving things that have already been done. Successful examples like the ones that we've seen are there to be utilized and improved upon in the future. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, the breadth of opportunities is immense. We've talked a lot about energy and power transactions today, but there's no reason that this type of transaction can't occur in different sectors in all provinces and territories of Canada, in all parts of the economy. What I hope you take away from my comments is that there's a lot of momentum and reason for optimism based on what we've seen recently. However, while this is encouraging, we also know there's a lot more that needs to be done. And as banks, we need to be actively involved in that work. So what are we focused on to ensure that progress remains strong? Helping to advise and share knowledge with Indigenous organizations who are still building some of their capabilities. Matching up opportunities with financing that's available. Being innovative and creative to find approaches to finance projects that might not otherwise get done. Listening and appreciating unique perspectives. Each community has different objectives. Each transaction requires different thoughts. And finally, actively removing biases and things that might be misunderstood about these transactions. We've heard the word partnership a number of times today, and that is a really, really important thing to remember and what underpins, in our minds, a successful framework. As you will hopefully take away from my comments, we're excited for the future in this area, but we know it will take a lot of hard work, a lot of capital, and a lot of creativity. My fellow speakers and many others are doing some terrific things, and I've truly enjoyed listening and learning from them tonight and look forward to the rest of their comments. I know I speak not only for my colleagues at RBC, but for other banks as well, when I say we look forward to doing our part to keep moving ahead towards reconciliation and a more equitable and inclusive future. Thank you.